Wait for it.
Gotta make sure that the microphone on the OBS is correct. There we go. We're good.
Oh, okay. And it says we're live.
Woo!
Okay. Oh, let me get the pic. I got the book. I brought it with me. I flew all the
Yay!
way.
Hold on, let me grab mine. Should I hold up like the whole stack or just the first book?
You should definitely hold up the whole stack. I feel like that'd be funny.
Okay. Hold on.
I feel like my camera looks a little gritty, but that's because I'm kind of sitting in the dark.
Oh, that's fair.
Everybody just saw me
Ah!
wipe my thing off on the
Ah!
stream. On the stream, it's fine.
Y'all, we're so fine right now. Hold on. I just dropped the
We're
whole
trying to get a
stack.
picture so we can tell you guys that we're live.
Ooh,
Oh, Jessica's over here being a hot mess.
it's fine. When am I not? Hello, hi,
That's
welcome to the
probably true.
chat. Welcome to Paperback Cowgirls. If it's not one thing, it's
Well,
the other every single time.
well, welcome to our normal everyday
Whee!
messiness
Okay,
and chaos.
okay, I got it this time.
Alrighty. Hey, let's go. It
Okay.
always works better on my laptop because my laptop's not like as wide as my computer at home.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, hey, hi, hello. We're here. We're making it work.
We are
Um,
here.
it's not, if it's not one thing, it's the other, always. So we had some technical difficulties starting. Obviously, I just sent all of my books tumbling while we were trying to take the photo. We started a little late. Alexis has to leave early. It's fine. Hi, Rachel.
But we're here.
Hello. Yes, we're here, and
But we're here.
it is time for our discussion of Heartstopper.
Woo!
Um, just to do this quick, since obviously we started everything late. You know our socials. Everything is at Paperback Cowgirls. I have our Fourth Wing discussion up on YouTube already. I'm working on getting Iron Flame up, so go check that out. We are on uh, Instagram, goodness gracious. And then last week we finished up discussing Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, thank God. So that finished up our coverage of the Imperium series. Um, yeah. Do you want to introduce our stream today?
Yes, so welcome to our Heartstopper themed stream. We're
Finally.
ready to dive in all things Nick and Charlie, me and Jess's new Roman Empire.
Yes, correct.
No, they did not replace Alex and Henry,
No,
but they are
but
up there.
mm-hmm.
And we are so excited to be talking about this because just overall, especially after reading such heavy fantasy, especially reading fantasy that just wasn't really
Into
all that vibing with and everything else. Their story is super lighthearted. We flew through all the books, so we really were like, oh man, we've been
mm-hmm.
reading so slow. We're only going to do volume one.
All five
Here we are,
volumes,
5 volumes later.
and then I
um,
made it through two novellas. It's fine.
literally, just want to make it known that Jess and I literally only owned volume one as of last week.
And we both immediately went out the following days and purchased the rest of them. So
But she had the novellas. I haven't gotten those yet. I have to get those. Also, my laptop's glaring into my glasses, but it's fine.
that's okay.
Um,
Yeah, no, I
so
went out
we're
two
super
days ago and got the
yeah, go ahead.
novellas, by the way. So I did not already have
Oh,
those. Yeah, so
so overall, the vibes are just super lighthearted. They're super cute. It's a really amazing, fun, just like feel good story. Um, honestly, also like Heartstopper is obviously not your normal young adult romance or young adult book series because they're graphic novels.
hmm
So they're like comics, but like not comics. The drawings to the show, which we'll get into this, are like literally spot on.
yeah.
And and then yeah, so then that takes us into the fact that it's also a Netflix series. So
hmm
if you have read them and didn't know that they were a Netflix series, which I feel like would be not a thing. I feel like most people probably know that. If you've been reading these,
hmm
then we watched season one. I'm not sure if Jessica ended up finishing all the show, but I watched all of season one, two, and three.
I
um,
I I focus more on the novellas. So I finished this winter Rachel. I'm about halfway through Nick and Charlie. I did finish season one of the show, so now I have to finish season two and three. So that's kind of where we're both at,
okay.
where we stand. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just for your awareness, if you read only volume one, which is what we're going to focus on, and watch season one, volume one is covered in season one, episodes one through three. And then by the time you reach episodes four through eight, that is majority of volume two with a little bit of like character introductions and like storyline introductions that you meet later on in the volumes, but they just have to kind of get introduced in the show. So you're not like, who the hell are these people and where did they come from? They kind of had to introduce those people in season one. So in that way you could kind of watch the story develop into what you would see in volumes two through five, and then probably the novellas as well. I didn't read those yet though, so
Yeah.
but overall, since Jess did the intro, just a reminder, this is obviously a spoiler-free zone and all opinions are our own. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, we are going to focus on volume one and season one and just kind of the background behind the Heartstopper series, but we probably will honestly touch on topics that you see in seasons two and three. Well, I guess mostly me because I watched all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but then volumes two through five and the novella since Jess read those.
Yeah. Also, I think you said this is a spoiler-free zone, but
Yeah.
it's not a spoiler-free zone.
Oh, I meant it
Yeah.
is not one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, 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 you're fine. You're fine. I figured. I figured.
Word.
Just wanted to make that clear. Um, so just real quick, before we get started on like our actual recap and discussion, I wanted to take a second to talk about something that Alexis and I have kind of tossed around for a little bit, and that is banned books. This is going to make sense in a second, I promise. Goodness. Um, so, obviously, with things that have been happening in the last few months, there was a lot of discussion a couple months ago about whether or not reading is political, keeping, book content, especially on social media, a safe space. Um, but unfortunately, it crosses lines. So, I wanted to say that Heartstopper is, in fact, considered a banned book. Um, Next week, we'll be starting our coverage of the Hunger Games series, which is also considered a banned book series. Um,
Crazy.
so, I thought this would kind of be a great moment to discuss Heartstopper because I mean, looking at it, you might not think that this would be something that would be banned. So the like brief definition of book banning is basically the practice of prohibiting or restricting the reading of a certain book by the general public or by a specific group. That could be anything from removing it from a library, removing it from a school, removing it from a certain age group in a school or in a library or something like that. Those are all considered different areas of book banning. And then book challenging is like that first step towards a book ban. So first you challenge a book, and then if it's approved, then it's a banned book. So this goes on through a lot of school districts, a lot of county and community districts. So there's a lot of different areas where books can be challenged and can be banned. Um, so specifically, Heartstopper has been banned, surprisingly, in Turkey, like the country, um, because it might have harmful effects on the morality of those aged below 18. From what I was able to find, copies can only be sold if they're packaged inside of a sealed envelope that's labeled as harmful for children. Um, and then Hungary, which apparently passed a law a couple years ago that any book containing LGBTQ themes or content has to be sold only in enclosed packaging. So again, it has to be very clear what you're picking up.
Hmm,
Now, here in the US, where we have, I think, kind of an outbreak of book banning over the last couple years, Heartstopper has been
crazy.
challenged in Clay County, Florida, a school district, Canby School District in Oregon, Marion County, Mississippi, um, North Dakota, and Michigan.
Hmm.
So, quite a few different areas so far. For the
Listen,
most
Mississippi, that's why y'all 48 in education.
correct. Also, yes, Michigan, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah.
so the complaints range from like just general discussion of LGBTQ themes, depiction of boys kissing, um, inappropriate content. There's discussion of, which we'll get into, anorexia, self harm, transgender, asexuality, obviously homosexuality, bisexuality. So, kind of a spectrum of stuff. Profanity, violence, all of these are things that have been cited for reasons why this book should be banned. Um, there's a very specific website, apparently, that has been created to let parents know what questionable or objectionable content is in their kids' books. So concerned parents can go and look at this and see specifically, like, oh, this book has pornography, which is one of the complaints about Heartstopper, which is crazy.
The picture
Uh,
you sent to me was the funniest thing. I was like, stop. Stop.
Let me see. I was like, oh, you mean this pornography? And it's literally just a page full of stars. By the way, it was so crazy. I can't
I
find it
feel
now,
like
but
they Google worse things.
yeah, they really do. They really do. Anyway, so there's a whole bunch of different reasons for Heartstopper specifically getting challenged or banned. Um, Obviously, or pretty obviously, it is because they feature queer characters and queer stories. It's not the only book or the only series to face that battle. But it's also been the recipient of several awards and nominations, like Goodreads Choice Awards, the British Book Awards, TikTok Book Awards, GLAAD Media Awards. So there's a lot of good that is also coming from this series. But I just wanted to put this out there kind of before we dive into our discussion of it, just to kind of bring awareness to the fact that books of all genres, for all age groups, of all I guess formats are being challenged and banned across the country. And again, I'll get more into this later, but like after reading this series, I'm legitimately so passionate about the fact that middle school and high school kids should have access to this series. I think if I had read them at that age, it would have made a lot of things very different for me. It would have made things maybe a little bit better. But it at least would have made helped me understand a lot more a lot earlier. Um, so that's kind of it, just to raise awareness about book banning and things like that. And that's pretty much it. So rant over, and let's, I guess, get into it. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming
do you
to my
want me
TED
to
Talk.
do you want me to read the description?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So if you're watching this and you don't know what Heartstopper is,
Pick it up right
straight
now.
from the author's website, the books well, okay, so like a general description slash like mostly speaking to volume one, obviously.
Hmm.
Boy meets boy, boys become friends, boys fall in love. Charlie and Nick are at the same school, but they've never met until one day when they're made to sit together. They quickly become friends, and soon Charlie is falling hard for Nick, even though he doesn't think he has a chance. But love works in surprising ways, and Nick is more interested in Charlie than either of them realized. It's by Alice Osman. She is a winner of the Young Adult Book Prize, Heartstopper. She describes Heartstopper as being about love, friendship, loyalty, and mental illness. It encompasses all the small stories of Nick and Charlie's lives that together make up something larger, which speaks to all of us. And then the specific show description, when you go on Netflix, I Googled it, is a coming of age tale about two British teens, Charlie and Nick, navigating love, friendship, and loyalty at an all boys grammar school. The show tackles serious issues like bullying and homophobia while balancing it with the sweetness of first love. Heartstopper is based off of the webcomic turned graphic novel of the same name by Alice Osman, who also created the series. And she is a co writer for the show.
And just as like a side note, I guess, which also Rachel, yes, the series. Rachel said the series made me realize and think about so many things about myself, and I would have also appreciated it in my youth. So, yes. Anyway, real quick, Solitaire is Tori's uh, spin off novel. This was actually Alice
Mm.
Osman's young adult debut novel, where she introduced Nick and Charlie, and this is, I think, set uh, in the future of the Heartstopper like main timeline. So she said writing about Nick and
Oh.
Charlie in this one made her want to go back and um, figure out how they got together. So that's where the idea of Heartstopper came from. She wrote it when she was 19.
Oh, wow. She
That's
was only 19.
crazy. That's crazy. What
That
am
is
I doing with my
crazy.
life?
No, that
Alice
part.
Osman, please
Okay.
relax.
Listen, you're
Anyway,
making us all look bad.
so yeah, so this is technically her debut novel, but it takes place after the Heartstopper like universe. But anyway,
This also kind of reminds me of what Casey McQuiston's like intro at the author signing event for the pairing when they were talking about how they loved all the characters that they wrote in the pairing and the fact
mm,
that the each of the different couples and characters essentially had like their own kind of backstory, which is what made
yeah,
that book so dang thick.
yes,
And that the plan originally for book five was that Casey McQuiston was going to go and actually write about somebody from the pairing, but I guess got inspired by something else, and
yeah,
that project's on the back burner. But that reminds me of kind of the same thing. Like, I guess
hmm
if you get so inspired by these characters that you introduce, you're like, well, why not write a story
yeah,
about them?
yeah. And I mean, and look now at the I guess powerhouse franchise that she's kind of created out of one her debut novel, you know. So crazy.
Is it me or did you remember? Okay, so like I didn't really know what Heartstopper was because I wasn't so Heartstopper came out in what, like 2021-ish? Not the book, the series.
I think 2022.
2022. Oh, okay. So I think I learned about Heartstopper like right after joining Bookstagram and being really confused and ended up finding out that they were graphic novels because I think my friend Alicia had mentioned that she had read them.
Mhm.
And I remember being like, what are these? I'm so confused.
Mhm.
And then I remember hearing all the drama about the cast from Heartstopper because Kit Connor like got outed or something
Yes. Okay.
because they were talking
Mhm.
about how oh you were queer baiting. He was like, okay, just because I was holding hands with a woman doesn't mean I'm straight, but thank you,
Mhm.
thank you. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I remember not even knowing what this is about. So now watching this show, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
he's basically real life Nick, but all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I knew of them, I think because like at this point my bookstagram is very queer leaning. So like I had seen people talk about it for a few years. Same thing when the show came out, it was all over like book talk and things like that.
And TikTok,
And
yeah.
yeah. And then it had always been like in the back of my mind, but never something I was like, "Oh, I want to pick this up." And then Rachel got really into them through a friend of hers who's really into them, and
Mm.
again just kind of brought back to the forefront of like, oh, I should look into this, and then again never really did. And then it's actually a reading group I have with Rachel and our other friend Corey, and we decided we were going to pick up Heartstopper. And then I know you and
Oh,
I had mentioned it at one point, and so I brought it up to you, and I was like, what if we just do one really big group reading project? So that's
yes.
kind of how this came about. But I do remember all of the drama of like Kit Connor, who plays Nick in the show. A lot of speculation about his sexuality. I do think he eventually came out as bisexual, but then there was a lot of pushback of like he should not have been forcibly outed or like felt like he had to come
Correct.
out to address rumors or put rumors to rest or whatever. Um, but yeah, um,
Did they not see Alex's speech in Red, White, and Royal Blue? Okay,
correct,
because I did.
correct. Leave people alone and let them come out or not come out in their own time. Okay.
Listen, do you
Um,
know how often I was Googling is Nicholas Galitzine bisexual just because I wanted to know if I had a chance? Like, okay. Like, it's not because I actually cared. It's
yeah,
just because I wanted to know if I had a chance if I hit on him.
yeah.
That's all.
Oh my
I didn't need
lord.
to know his personal business. I didn't need to know. I just needed to know straight or bisexual. What are the percentages of my
Yes.
chances?
Which let's see. Um oh god.
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to re-add the thing? I'm dead. When was the last time that we had the actual counter up?
I think on my other computer.
Oh, that would
Mhm.
make sense. Okay.
Cuz that's
Well, don't
been
worry, guys, because I ordered a Nicholas Galaxy t-shirt and I'm definitely wearing it whenever it comes in for the
popping
stream.
right there. Okay. Also, yeah, it's been really funny because between you and me and then Rachel and Corey, like we have all been very like on the same page in terms of like where we're at in the reading process. So that's kind of been really fun because like I'll send you something and then you'll be like, oh yeah, or like I'm not quite there yet, but I'm almost there, and then I'll send it to Rachel and Rachel's like, oh my god, I just got to that part. So it's been very fun to like. We should have done this like literally as
Rachel,
a big group thing,
join
but
join our Fable book club thing so we can all track where we're all at. And then I think in
oh
Fable you
yeah,
can add comments to what
I
chapter it
forgot about that.
belongs to, and then you don't have to view it until you get there.
Mm,
And Corey can join it
that's
too.
cute. I
I'm
gotta
still trying to
look.
learn the app because I don't really know a lot about it, but I think
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Okay. Yeah, it's cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um.
But if it's not obvious, we obviously absolutely devoured
Yeah.
not just volume one, but volume two, three, four, and
Mhm.
five.
And then
And
the
then just
series,
went
and
ahead
then
and
the
knocked out all
novellas.
those novellas.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Mhm. Um.
flew through it.
Do you want to discuss the, I guess like the basic background of the each volume, or you want me to go ahead and grab that?
Oh, yeah, I can. From what I remember. Am I reading the same script that you are? Because I feel like I'm not.
Ooh, I.
Share it to me,
Oh, you're
just in case.
not. Oh shit.
Not us just looking at two different things.
Fine, it's fine. Not
No, it's
us
okay.
literally never having our shit figured out. It's fine. Okay,
It's
I
all
shared
right,
it with you,
guys.
so you should have it. Oops.
Also, while we're pulling it up, not me just never being home. It's fine.
Yeah, Alexis is what, you're back in Nashville today, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had some personal stuff to take care of out here, so I'm out here for the weekend. Figured I'd see some friends while I was out here. Did it email me that you sent it to me?
I think so. I updated your
Does it
access to it.
Why does it never freaking tell me in my Google Drive, which is what we use, obviously, that like I have access to stuff? It's so silly.
Um,
Yeah, okay, there we
you
go.
got it? Okay, I was gonna say I'll throw it in the Discord. Anyway, guys, it's fine.
Okay.
We're very technologically unsavvy, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, clearly. Okay, so as we said, it is the five graphic novels and then there's the two novellas. So it features Nick Nelson, who is 15 at the start, and then Charlie Spring, who is 14 at the start. And they're two boys and they get like linked up. They're like, hey, empty seat, go sit there. And Charlie's like, okay. So how Charlie, who's a year 10, so okay, also don't think about this in United States school system. Think of this from United Kingdom school system because they have like grammar school slash just like whatever school stuff. I don't know what their actual like school system is called. Like for us, it's K through 12. So they have years one through
I think
I
13.
think like 12 or 13, right?
It takes
Because it's
place
like
in the
K
UK, if
through
you couldn't
12.
tell.
Yeah. So he's in year 10 and Nick's in year 11, but Charlie is known to be extremely smart. So he's in a couple of classes with the years ahead of him. So that's how he ends up sitting next to Nick in class. So they are school friends and they end up developing romantic feelings for each other. So Charlie got accidentally outed and was bullied for the whole entire year prior that this book takes place. So we're really seeing Charlie fresh off of a school year where his life was made pretty miserable.
Mhm.
We get to see him kind of navigate his crush on Nick, who he thinks is straight. And then Nick slowly starts to grow these feelings for Charlie, and we see him kind of like essentially establishing his and like starting his process of figuring out who he is, what his interests are, his bisexuality, and just overall what it's like to unlock this whole other version of yourself that you were repressing. Um, then we get to see them both kind of navigate their queer relationship with each other and their friends and coming out and dealing with other kids in school and just stuff like that. And then all in the midst of this, um, how they also kind of developed their friendship was he convinces Charlie to join the rugby team because Charlie is not a very buff guy, but he's a very fast guy. So they figured they could use the speed on the team. The book also features a transgender character. It talks about bullying. It has discusses asexuality, aromanticism, different mental illnesses like anxiety and OCD and anorexia. And then essentially it just kind of ends with, well, that's the series as a whole, I guess, but
Mhm.
then the volume 1 ends with Charlie kissing Nick at a party. Um Side note, literally when Nick was googling what what is it, how do you know you're gay,
Yeah.
bisexual mean, all I could think of was in the book of Red, White, Royal Blue when Alex was like, I don't think straight people think about if they're straight this
Yeah.
much.
Or like when he's calling Liam, I'm like, Liam, was that a thing? And Liam was like, I can't handle your queer crisis right now.
Yeah, he was like, your self identity crisis is something that you need to work out, bro.
Mm.
Like,
But dude, I will
he's
say,
like,
like,
but
the
yes.
Googling is so fucking real of like taking the tests and like, what does it mean?
Literally, that is
So
so
relatable.
funny. Like, I personally have never gone through this experience, but from what I've heard about from the experience, I've heard it's just like, it's so serious when you're doing it. And then
Mhm.
I heard like kind of the feelings after when you're looking back is like, what the hell was I doing? Like,
Yeah.
it's like Googling it.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
combo of like, bro, that was so fucking obvious, and then like, I was so stupid.
yeah, no, I have not had that personal self-identity experience, but
It's
I have
great. You
heard
should
lots
try
of things
it.
about it. Me later tonight. Let me like film a montage of
Yeah,
myself.
like, it's like
Oh my
the
god.
Twilight scene when Bella is researching like the vampires and the cold ones. Just
Oh
picture
my
that, but it's just
god.
like gay and bisexual, like tests and
It's
quizzes.
me. It's me trying to find who Nick Galitzine has been
Oh
linked
my
to
god.
romantically. So volume two immediately picks up, and it's pretty much them essentially establishing what happens now. They're kind of just exploring what their I feel like my computer's about to restart. That's not good. How do I
Oh my
stop that?
god. Don't
Uh-oh.
please don't do that.
It is always something with this thing. I really feel like it's about to restart. Oh no.
Oh no.
Please don't do that. I don't know how to stop it. It told me, please don't do it. Okay, I think since I opened the thing, it might not happen.
Okay.
We might be okay.
If we just
I guess
randomly
if it
lose
shuts off,
Alexis, we'll
we
find out
know
what
what
happens.
happens. So basically, we figure out that their relationship, like they don't really know what's gonna happen, but they're like, okay, let's talk about our feelings, let's figure out what happened, and they decide to keep the relationship a secret. So of course that kind of puts Nick in this like weird situation because Nick's like, I don't want to be like this guy that you were like kissing behind closed doors, which is this guy named Ben. And Charlie was like, it's not like that. We're on the same page. Like, we've had a conversation about it. There's a reason behind it. You are allowed to come out on your own timeline. But it's just as long as we communicate and you keep me in the loop, we're good. So they get to see, we kind of get introduced to more of their friend group. The friend group starts to expand. We meet a lesbian couple, which is Tara and Darcy, and Charlie's transgender friend Elle, who used to attend the school, which was is Truum, which is the boys' school, but then transferred to the girls' grammar school, which is across the street. And I forgot what it's called, but it's something with an
Higgs.
H and a G. Thank you.
Hmm.
So then Charlie deals with his friend Tao trying to warm him away from Nick, saying like this just is going to hurt you in the end. And Nick is trying to stand up to all of his friends' homophobia. You know, he's like your standard jock. You know, he's kind of known to be like this manlier guy. Like the main
He's a
joke
rugby
around all of them
lad.
throughout all this. Yeah, like the main joke throughout all of this is they're like, "What do you mean something about Nick? That man looks straight." And it's
Yeah.
like, what does looking straight even mean?
Yeah.
So eventually they decide that they don't want to keep it a secret from their families anymore. And Nick comes out as bi to his mom, and it's like super supportive and it's great, and tells
Yeah,
her
we
about his
stand Nick's
relationship with
mom.
Charlie. We stand Nick's mom 100%. She's a baddie. And everything kind of starts to go pretty good. Like this is kind of the start to it progressing even further. I believe at this point we're still within the same school year as far as the timeline. I believe one of the volumes has the timeline, but I don't have the one on me in Nashville.
Yeah,
I think it's
volume
five.
5, yeah. So, just real quick, volume 1 starts in January, ends in April of the same year. Volume 2 is literally just April and May. Volume 3 starts in May of that year, ends in July, and then Volume 4 starts in August, and then goes all the way
Mhm.
until March of the next year. And then Volume 5 is April to June of that year. So Volume 4
Yeah.
covers the most amount of time.
And also their school years are like not necessarily reflective to like ours here. Ours here are what like August, September to May, June. I
Mhm.
think theirs kind of operate in a different capacity. And it's really interesting on how similar
Mhm.
that it kind of sets them up so much better for college, which they call uni,
Mhm.
short for university. And it's really interesting to me how much they kind of set them up because like when finals period, like when finals come or like their GCSEs or whatever they're all called over there, they actually stop taking classes,
Mhm. God, I
which
wish
is
that were
very
us.
similar to to how college was. Like at Purdue, we had classes, but then finals week was like 2 weeks long. So I mean, you had 2 weeks where you didn't go to class, but you had finals.
I don't think
So
IUPUI was like that. That's kind of crazy.
yeah, we had so like midterms. Obviously, you took exams while you were attending class, but then
Mhm.
finals, you had the very last day of class in like pretty early December, and then the last 2 weeks, like right before like winter break would start, we had
Mhm.
no classes.
Oh, interesting.
It was just whenever you turned in like a term paper or you had your final or whatever. Now,
Mhm.
don't screw yourself by not studying at all while you still had classes because you
Right.
could have final on the very first day.
Mhm.
But you had about
Maybe
I
it
think
was like that.
if it wasn't a full 2 weeks, it was like a week and a half.
I don't remember honestly. I kind of blocked a lot of my school out even in college. I was not about school life, man. I enjoyed learning, um, and I was good at it, but I school itself.
Valid.
hmm
Do you want to go into volume three?
Sure.
I think I'm gonna turn on a light behind me.
Yeah, you're a little dark there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
please don't bite my finger, cat. Doodah. Okay, so volume 3, throughout the course of volume 3, they slowly kind of reveal their friendship to their friends, mostly Charlie's friends. Um, the boys and girls school both end up going on like a joint
Oh
trip
wow.
to Paris for the summer. So again, we get to see more of the friend group and kind of how they interact, how they explore Paris. There are two teachers. This was so cute to me. There's two teachers who get introduced and then get their own romantic subplot that starts in volume 3 and
Yes.
kind of goes in and out. Um, Nick starts to notice that Charlie struggles with eating. They're in a museum and Charlie ends up passing out. Um, so that kind of becomes an issue. Um, Tao and Elle end up getting together on this Paris trip. Tara has a birthday party. There's alcohol involved. There's a truth or dare game. Um, and then Charlie gets dared to kiss another character at the party. He says no. And then somebody else was like, well, you have a love bite, so obviously there's somebody you've been kissing on this trip. And then Nick decides, like, well, might as well just tell him. So Nick comes out about dating Charlie and their relationship. Um, and then the book kind of ends with Charlie trying to figure out how to tell Nick that he loves him while Nick is researching eating disorders for Charlie. So I personally
They
thought
show
it.
their love in very different ways.
I was just gonna say I think it's very cute that they kind of show that those ways. It was very cute. Um,
hmm I think my favorite line from volume three, and in the show they do it too, when they're like, "Oh, Nick, are those is that love bite from you?" And he was like, "And what if it was? Or would you be jealous?" And I was like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
tease,
Nick
tease."
definitely gets a lot more confident throughout the course of like volume 2 into 3 of like going from not wanting to tell anybody and like having this gay crisis to like, so what if it is? Who cares? Like I want to tell people. I don't think it should matter to anybody but us. Like what's going on. And I really, God, all of the little like side discussions that they have are so good.
Oh my
Um,
God, the commentary. This bit, Tori, Charlie's sister, is
she's
literally
so
the
good.
favorite side character. This
Mm-hmm.
bitch pops up like, what a comment, sister.
She comes in,
background.
gets the tea, and then dips every single time.
She
Spills
is
spills a little bit
literally
of truth
so
and then
funny.
dips. She's great.
No, literally. Like when she walked up and was like, I don't think you're straight.
Yeah, walks away. He's like, oh, okay.
And then when she like freaking gets the brother, which I think is coming up, I was like,
Oh my
oh,
god.
okay,
Obsessed with her.
Tori.
So, volume four, um, we have Nick who's about to go on a 3 week like summer holiday with his family. And Charlie is still trying to figure out how to tell him that he loves him. So, it ends up that Charlie's over at Nick's house. Nick is in the shower. Uh, Charlie finally like gets up the courage, tells it to Nick through the door while he's in the shower. Uh, Nick is trying to process. Charlie panics about it, runs away. Nick like falls out of the shower, throws on a sweatshirt and shorts, runs out the door barefoot, chases him down. Charlie's having like a mental spiral about it. You see a lot of Charlie's anxiety come out in volume 4.
Mm-hmm.
Um and then Nick like grabs him, stops him and is like, "I love you back. Why are we like this?" So it's very cute. Um we see a little bit more of Charlie's home life. He's having fights with his
Mm-hmm.
mom, um, which we get a little bit of insight into like his mom and how his mom grew up, which I really liked. We see his little brother, his dad, more of his sister Tori. Tori gets a boy who is a friend. We'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we meet Nick's brother, who's a fucking dick.
No,
Um,
yeah, screw him. He sucks.
he makes light out of Nick's sexuality all the time. Um,
He almost tried to out Charlie at a dinner
mhm.
table.
Nick at a dinner table to his dad.
Well, I guess both of
Both
them.
of them, yeah, I guess, yeah. Um, when Nick gets home from that summer holiday, he has a birthday party. Um, and that day he ends up telling Charlie that he thinks he thinks Charlie has anorexia. He wants him to talk to his
Mm-hmm.
parents. So they tell Charlie's parents about it. Charlie gets put on a wait list, which, if you know anything about the UK health system, it is a free healthcare system. It's government subsidized, but they have a lot of complaints about their healthcare system and like waiting time for a lot of things. Which, plot twist, we have the same problems here. We just pay for it. Um,
Mm-hmm. Right.
so anyway, so Charlie ends up on a wait list for several months to get help for his anorexia and his anxiety problems. He has a major episode, I think a couple of weeks or a couple months later, and ends
Mm-hmm.
up getting checked into an inpatient facility to get help with everything. So he gets out, I think, on Christmas. And so we see not only Charlie navigating that through like a therapist and the good days and the bad days, but we see Nick navigating that too and like trying to be there for Charlie, supporting him, helping him through it. And then we see them like and how that relationship deals with that, which was really
Mm-hmm.
good, I think, especially for this age group. Um, and then we finally get to meet Nick's dad. There's a big family dinner. Nick finally comes out to his dad, tells his brother to fuck off. His mom tells his dad and his brother to fuck off. Um, so, you
Baddie.
know, good
Miss
news all
Nelson is a
around.
baddie.
um, and then season five, basically, they're teenagers. They're 16 and 17 now, so, or I think 15 and 16, either way. They're horny for some teenagers, as most teenagers are. Um, it's Nick's second to last year in school, so university talk comes up quite a lot. He's a year ahead of Charlie. Um, so they're kind of figuring that out. Nick doesn't want to go away for school. He wants to stay close to Charlie, but he, Tara, and Elle go on like a university trip tour thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and after being very like about several universities, he decides he really likes Leeds. It's really cool. It's in a city. It has a rugby team. He gets really into it. But it is several hours away from their hometown, so they would end up being long distance.
Mm-hmm.
We find out in volume five that Tori is asexual, so she comes out to Charlie, which when I tell you seeing that word mentioned in a book, I tears in my eyes ran to my husband and I just kind of like shoved it in his face and I was like, I can't believe this right now. Um, anyway, um, Charlie and Nick finally have their pornographic sex moment. Um, Nick tells Charlie he
Stars
wants
on the stars on the pages.
stars on the page. It is very, very fade to black. Um, Nick tells Charlie he wants to go to Leeds University, and then you see Charlie's anxiety kind of spike, and then that's very much where we leave off in volume 5. There is a sixth volume
And
that's supposed to
then
come out at some point.
yeah. And then I have some notes comparing the show to the books on the other script.
Okay. Um,
um,
I will say
and let me share
real
that to
quick. Hold
you.
on. The This Winter novella takes place.
Mhm.
Well, I think the winter of, oh God, volume 3 maybe. And it's just kind
Mm.
of um this is after Charlie's year 3, year 4 maybe. I
It
don't know.
should be in the
Volume 4.
timeline on volume 5.
It is. I don't
I
feel
think
like
she
pulling it
mentions
back
the
up.
novellas. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She anyway, this is after Charlie's inpatient facility and his eating disorder and everything comes out, so he really
Mm.
struggles with all of that. So you just kind of get a little bit more into like Charlie and Tori's mindset throughout all of that. And then Nick and Charlie is set in the next year after volume 5, so it's Nick's like last like month or couple days in school before he goes to university, and then how they're kind of really struggling to figure out how they're going to do long distance in university. So that's kind of where I'm at on that one.
So
Okay.
one thing that I like that the books kind of address is and I think they kind of mentioned it in the show towards the last season, but one of the things that I really like in it is that they really talk about the codependency that we
Yes.
tend to see. I mean, they're teenagers, it's their first relationship, first love,
Mhm.
like very standard. But I really like how in this show, one of their friends kind of mentions like it's important that you keep us around too. This is not just about your
Mhm.
boyfriend or your girlfriend or your
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like your friends are important, your family's important, your hobbies are important. Like all these things that we used to do before we started all falling in love and getting relationships, like we
Mhm.
can't just forget about that kind of stuff. And I honestly like I hate to be like the Debbie Downer on this situation, but like I see it really heavy with Nick.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Nick latched on to Charlie for this sense of like um confidence and honestly like the ability to experience and explore this new journey that he's on. And I'm really interested and I kind of hope that volume 6 explores this. I want to see from Nick's point of view what his experience will be like at university as he's doing this on his own
Mhm.
away from Charlie.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would like to see him and Charlie make it, especially because we don't know where Charlie would like to go to school. What if he shows up at Leeds and he likes it just as much, which I feel like that might not be what happens because Charlie
Mhm.
gives 100% dark academia vibes.
Yes.
But
I do want to
but at
say,
least he might be closer.
yeah. Just to add to that real quick, I think this spread in volume 4 kind of encompasses that perfectly. Where
Mm-hmm.
Nick is telling his mom that he thinks Charlie has anorexia and he doesn't know what to do, and Nick's mom says, knowing that sometimes people need more support than just one person can give, that's love.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the book is very clear on, God, just so many things. Anyway, yeah,
Which I feel like as a teenager, especially like that would have been so important to see as a teenager because I feel like one of the largest um character development moments that people go through in real life is learning how to balance their family, their
mhm,
interests,
mhm,
their relationship, their friends,
yeah,
and overall just themselves.
mhm,
And I feel like being younger, you wrapped up I mean we watched it like I mean and I was not as boy crazy as we saw some of our friends, but like a normal average teenage girl. But like we saw some of our friends like literally never hang out with us ever.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
ever. And we were like, "Where did you go?
yeah. You just
Like
dropped off.
like what happened?" And
Mhm,
so I remember like getting to college and being like, "Okay, I don't want to do that." because I've seen what happens if they break up. They literally don't know what to do with themselves
Yeah.
because they haven't seen their friends. They're kind of like MIA. They're like, "Where have you
Mhm.
guys been? How are things going?" And you're
Yeah.
like, "Well."
Mhm.
And I mean, I even saw it in college too. So I'm really interested to see because I feel like also as somebody who has experienced trying to be somebody who wants to be there for someone and trying to tell that person that they need more than one person and they don't listen and the
Mhm.
consequences of that
Yeah.
because then they want to put everything on you and you're one person
Yeah.
and you can't help people who don't want to help themselves. You can't help somebody for them. You just
Yeah.
have to support them through them getting the help from the people that are literally trained to help them.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so I thought that that would have been really great to see, like being younger,
Mhm.
because I feel like that would have been really important for me to see, like, yes, you're allowed to like to help people, but
Mhm.
no, it does not have to be just you.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, like to add to that real quick, the destigmatization of therapy
yes,
at a younger age, I think would have been really
absolutely.
helpful. But yeah.
Oh yeah. And honestly, like the support group that they have as a whole, I mean, just
Mhm.
and just the concept of their friendships, the fact that your friendship is not just you watching movies with them on a Friday night or you texting them or you seeing them at school and eating lunch together, that your friendship goes so much further into being there when your friend is going through something and even though you
Mhm.
feel helpless, just letting them know I'm here and not abandoning them through
Yeah.
that. And I feel like that was something that, I mean, even now at 30, we still see like
Mhm.
being a friend is not just about being around in the good times, it's about being around when things are really crappy too.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the the f- I think the novels do a very good job of focusing both on Nick and Charlie's relationship, but also on at least specifically Charlie's friend group, which becomes Nick and Charlie's friend group.
Hmm.
Um, and like Nick realizing that his old rugby friends, some of them are fine, but most of them are very high school kids, jock, homophobic, whatever. And then just kind of like that focus on friendship being very important and different types of friends and kind of like you said of just like supporting and being there for each other and just like friendship as a whole I think is so important because like especially now with like e-learning and the way society is right now I think social skills and actual in-person friendships really struggle because so much of everything is online and
Yeah, I know so many people that try to have so many really difficult conversations over texting, and you're like,
what do you
that's
just
not
have it in person.
like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, obviously,
Mhm.
if we're not in the same physical zip code, like I understand, yeah, like you might have to
Mhm.
pick up the phone and call me,
Mhm.
but texting is not always like sure it can start that way or maybe be resolved that way or be included in part of the way
Mhm.
that you're having the conversation. But I like how I like how when Nick literally could not fathom how he could get the words out to Charlie to kiss him at the end of volume 1, beginning
Mhm.
of volume 2, he literally runs to his house
Yeah.
because he's like, I need face to face interaction. Like, what I'm trying to say
Mhm.
is not coming out in this message. Like, let me just talk to him.
Yeah. And they do a lot of that of
And
like going
so,
back to each other's house. Like look at this.
yeah,
He literally runs through the rain to go talk to him.
literally so precious. I'm obsessed with them.
My god. Anyway,
So,
do you want to talk on the series real quick
yeah.
and then we'll get into it?
So, basically, the show follows the side characters more from the beginning
Mhm.
so that the writers have a little bit more flexibility with their storylines. So at the time when I wrote this, I was only in volume 2, so I hadn't seen all the character development yet. But essentially, a lot of the characters are the same. They really only changed a couple. And they all get introduced early on in the show because, like I said, they had to take the time to actually like build a storyline. But like we get introduced to what is his name? Like Mr. Ajari is the art teacher, and then Mr.
Oh,
Farouk.
yes.
Then there's Mr. Farouk, and so you meet them way early on in
Okay.
comparison to the books, and then they meet Tori. You meet Tori sooner. You meet Tara and Darcy around the same time. We meet Elle a lot sooner in the show than we do in the book.
Mhm.
Um, and just a lot of the characters that would get introduced later just were introduced like pretty much up front. Um, Minor characters in the book, like Elle, is getting her own um storyline across the board. In the show, she gets introduced very early on. Darcy and Tara obviously also get introduced fairly early on, and then the main character differences to note is that they removed Charlie and Tori's little brother Oliver. Guess they felt a kid of that minor of a role was not really like as necessary to worry about casting, which I
If
guess
you
I
gotta
could sort of
pay another
understand.
actor and worry about like child labor
Yeah,
laws,
exactly. I mean,
they're
they
not gonna
already
do
had a
it.
show bunch of teenagers. I highly doubt they wanted to worry about an even smaller kid.
Mhm.
And then their friend Alid becomes
Isaac.
Isaac. And Isaac in the show is actually who we end up finding out and following the storyline of becoming finding out that he's aromantic and asexual. And Tori,
Oh,
it's
I
like
can't wait to
alluded
get to
to in the
that.
show, but in the novels, like
It's
she's
very
the one that
clear.
comes out.
Mhm.
Hmm. And then, really, as far as the whole show, Ben is a very background character. More so, he gets introduced, and we kind of see a little bit between him and Nick and Charlie because obviously he's the one that was like messing around with Charlie in the background and was like kind of addicted to him and stuff.
Mhm.
And so he plays more of a minor role in the sense of like he just kind of is introduced to show us how that impacts Charlie in the future, like later on because he hadn't processed all the bullying that was brought on. And then, but in the show, Ben is actually friends with Nick, which kind of creates like some animosity and some extra drama for, TV production purposes.
I
And then
think
they
they
add a
removed
character.
Nick's two friends. It was like Christian and somebody else that like Nick
No,
is
they're
actually.
in the
Oh,
show.
are they in the show?
They come
Okay.
later. They come
Oh,
later.
okay, okay. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
gotten past
yeah,
season
yeah,
one,
yeah.
so okay, never
No, you're
mind.
good. Yeah, they come later. So
Okay.
in the show, I think they pop, or in the books, I think they pop up more and they talk more.
Mhm.
But in the show, I don't think we see them nearly as often. But I think towards like season 2 into season 3, we see them really start to kind of evolve, and you see Nick keep that friend group like not super separate from Charlie because Charlie's on the rugby team,
Mhm.
but he keeps it separated enough that I'm glad that they stayed just Nick's friends. I think that created
Oh.
that boundary for Nick
Okay.
where like Nick
Yeah.
has his like rugby jock friends that accept him and
Yeah.
love him, but then he's obviously morphed into Charlie's group, which is morphed into a couple of the girls from Higgs because
Mhm.
obviously they go to girls' school. However, in the show, the main difference that you'll see is Imogen
Mhm.
gets added, and she hangs out at Shroom all the time, but goes to Higgs, and she was not in the books at all.
No.
But she gets added for dramatic purposes, pretty much. But she's cool. I like her. She was a nice addition.
Imogen was pretty great. I
She
think
gets better too.
okay. I think at first she was very much just kind of added as like a like a drama or like a foil for Nick and Charlie before they got together. Um, because like Imogen asks Nick out and Nick says yes. While he and Charlie are like very early in their relationship, but she's very chill about the fact that like Nick does not want to go out with her after he explains it to her.
Hmm.
So I liked her a lot.
Yeah, and her character really develops a lot, and I think we're supposed to be anticipating a little bit more character development from her, but
Okay.
it's not like fully going to be seen, I don't think, until season 4, which I've heard may or may not be the last season to like wrap up everything. I don't know if they were anticipating going into a season 5, but I don't even think they've started filming season 4 yet, from what I've heard,
I would say if volume
which is interesting
six,
because
like volume five was supposed to be the last volume, and then the author was like, there needs to be one more volume to just kind of wrap things up. So a fourth and final season, I think, would make a lot of sense.
which is really interesting because in volume 5 you definitely leave with, I mean, like a cliffhanger because you're like, oh my god, what's going to happen when they go to, like, when Nick goes to school and then
Hmm.
Charlie goes to school, so you're left with like a lot of questions. But I feel like it left it on a better page because they both kind of came clean about like how Nick wanted to go to Leeds and all this other stuff. And in the show, that's not what happened. So they purposely left the show on a cliffhanger, obviously, so you keep watching it.
Yeah. Um,
So I thought that that was interesting, but
Rachel, we did bring up that Isaac was Alid in the series, by the way. Just
yes.
yeah. But Alexis, to answer that, they go more into that in this one of like
I wonder if
university.
that'll feed into season
It
four
could,
then.
yeah. I don't know, Rachel. Can you confirm if you've already finished the series? Does this play at all into the series and like the way that season 3 leaves off? Because I don't know, it could, and it could even tie into season 4. I think depends on. I don't know if volume
Well,
6 is
season
supposed
three
to come out
ends.
first or season 4 is supposed to come out first. I don't know how that's supposed to go.
Yeah, I don't know either. And what's really weird is like, I mean, I guess Alice Osman is a co-writer on the show, like a script writer on the show
Mm-hmm.
or screenwriter. So I feel like whatever she has figured out or written for volume six, maybe they'll incorporate.
It
And
could
then
be.
maybe because of the mini series and the novella, maybe she'll throw some of that in there too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Could be.
I don't know. I'm very interested. Rachel said I feel like that is what I'm leaning towards with how far I've gotten.
Okay,
Yeah.
it could be interesting.
So really overall, like most of the characters, like I said, are the same. Um, the coach, I mean, literally the characters that they did cast are like extremely spot on. Like
Mm-hmm.
from the hair to the way they look, to the
Yeah.
way that they dress, even into the environment with the school like looks the same. The
Mm-hmm.
bedrooms have the same like character like character differences like
Yeah.
in the novels you see Charlie's room has the music sign and then they literally have that in the show.
Mm-hmm.
The little Polaroid pictures that Nick has above his bed,
They're
they
so
literally
cute.
put it in the show. I mean, like it's just like red, white, and royal blue. Like the intricacy, like just the amount of time that they took to look into those intricate details
Yeah.
to build into the set is like amazing. And I feel like it made you literally feel like you were watching what you looked at on the pages.
Yeah. And where the hell? One of these. Oh,
Rachel
here it
said they
is.
have his Muse poster. They did, and the classic
I was
book,
just
because
gonna say,
yeah.
Rachel. I, dude, I'm such a fucking nerd. Okay, when they show Charlie's room, I think
This girl was like, "Oh,
at first the Muse poster just didn't say Muse. It just said the Resistance, and I was like, there's no fucking way. And then later in the book, they show that it actually says like Muse, the Resistance. I'm like, I fucking knew it. I have that album. And then of course in the show, it has like the whole thing. And then in Charlie's room, he has like a Penguin Classics poster, and it's Brideshead Revisited. And I sent a Snapchat out to the group, and I was like, oh, so he's a classics lit gay. Got it. Dude, I was those little details to me, because like I caught them, I caught the Easter egg, were very fun. And I was
Charlie
very much like,
definitely going to
ooh,
university and getting a nose ring. Like it's happening."
yes.
Like,
Um,
and he's in a band now too. Yep.
yeah, he is absolutely. Oh my god. Volume 3 in Heartstopper, by the way, has different views
Mhm.
of both the boys' rooms, and I
And
mean
they put
like,
him in the show.
yes, very much. See, it even says Brideshead Revisited right there.
Yep.
Fucking nerd, like I
And then
said.
we got Nick, our little cute Viking
Yes.
rugby lad.
Yes. Um, Rachel, do not tempt me to buy that coloring book. I swear to
There's a
God.
coloring
There's a
book.
coloring
No,
book. I don't know.
consider money spent.
Can y'all see the Muse poster right there? Yeah. Charlie's room. Yeah. Yeah, there's a
Um,
coloring book. Oh, and then Nick being
Drop that link in the chat, Rachel.
Nick being a Marvel fan.
Yes.
I feel so
Oh
seen, dude.
no, literally me. Then when he in
He
the
does have a
show he
Daft Punk
dresses up as
poster,
Captain
Rachel.
America. I think in the book he does too. And
Oh,
literally, I was like,
cute.
not me just watching Captain America. I was like, Nick, we're on the same page, buddy.
um, Going back to the coloring book
Did he
real
have a
quick.
Daft Punk one? Not the
I
Daft
think he
Punk.
did. Um,
Okay.
Rachel sent Corey and I a Snapchat that was like, oh, I'm coloring in this page, and what do I know? The next page has porn, and it's just them like kissing.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah,
got
because that's what they classify it.
they do have a Daft Punk poster right there.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Daft Punk. That's a throwback.
yeah. Anyway, man, I'm gonna get the coloring book.
Yeah, me too. Send
Yeah.
me the link. But honestly, like overall, the show, like this was one of the best well done shows
Mhm.
from that was adapted from a book series that I have ever seen. Like just the like I said, like the detail, the attention to detail spent, like the way that they casted these characters. I mean, I literally felt like I was imagining the characters from the book while watching the show and watching the
Mhm.
show or and imagining the characters from the show while reading the book. Like they are so spot on. Like from the way that Nick dresses, Harley, the shoes,
Mhm.
like the details, the hair. You know, of course they took obviously creative liberties with the fact that you're bringing these characters to life and they're real
Right.
people, but and we have to see the side characters more often in the show so they could develop their story rather than obviously they were a little bit more in the background in the books. But I honestly like that though. Like usually you're like, no, focus on the point so then that way we could see everything from the main characters, but I feel like the way that they ramped, even the way that they ramped up the background storyline to make it more dramatic or theatrical or whatever, was
Mhm.
still so spot on that, like, if she made side stories of every minor character, I feel like that would be pretty much exactly what happened.
Yeah. I agree.
Yes,
Let's see.
the
Rachel
word for
said,
word scenes,
mhm. Yeah.
identical imagery.
And like I am a really big fan of a true adaptation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I also really enjoyed the I guess the changes or the liberties that they did take in this series because I feel like it added more. Like it didn't take anything away, it added to it and I really appreciated that.
Yes.
Um, and I yeah, I think they did a really good homage.
Like honestly, the way,
I
and
wanted
you'll
to
see it a little
show.
bit more. I mean, with season one with Ben, I'm sure you'll see it a little bit. But like even into season two, they kind of write him off when they tell him like, oh, he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to another school, like blah blah blah, whatever.
Mhm.
But even the storyline that he kind of takes in this show was a little bit more of a creative liberty, and it was still really good.
I just wanted to show like
Like
the
that's
viewers
so
like
perfect.
this to the scene that I just had up. So, I mean, yeah, it's almost like shot for shot even.
Yes.
Um and the other thing that I really liked is like the animation in the series is
Mhm.
so cute because they'll have little references to like the comic panels and they'll show like different shots up and down or like Nick here and Charlie here and then they'll have like the stars or the little hearts pop up or
Or
the
the little
flowers pop up the
the little lightning
leaves.
bolts
Yeah,
or like the
yeah.
little like sparks, when they
Mhm.
like touch or
And
whatever.
I just like I this might be a conversation for like another day, but I feel like the art of rom-com has been lost in the last couple of years. Like, early 2000s we had so many and done so well,
Yes.
and now it's just all kind of action or more serious. So like I think I don't know, but like watching Heartstopper and then thinking back on Red, White, Royal Blue, I almost feel like they
Mhm.
took inspiration from the series with the way that they did some of their editing. I'm obsessed with some of the editing in Red, White, Royal Blue of like the Instagram shots, the texting scenes when like him and Henry start really texting, and like some of
Mhm.
the things that they did there. So seeing it in Heartstopper and seeing it like interact with the characters, I'm obsessed. Oh my god, rom coms are so back, so cute.
No, literally just overall just how like you said, I think that's the best way to put it. Even though with the creative liberties that they did take, I feel like they just added to it. They did
Mhm.
not like anything, like the little things that they switched or the little things that they added that weren't in the books, I feel like
Mhm.
just made it so much better. Like I think I walked away like I don't no notes, like New Girl, no notes. It
Yeah.
was so good. And I feel like after I watched Red, White, and Royal Blue, I remember being a little disappointed because I really liked June. I
Yeah.
loved the dynamic. of June. I hate how
Mhm.
they downplayed the part of the relationship that like Henry's sister was in with them
Mhm.
and stuff
The
like that. So
divorce.
they took a little bit more creative liberties I didn't necessarily love, but when I
Mhm.
finished Heartstopper, I literally went, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
no complaints.
Yeah.
I'm just pissed that it's over.
Yeah.
Why would you
I
leave me hanging like this?"
I'm not there yet. No spoilers for me, okay?
But no, so good.
Mhm.
Literally so good. Also, the one thing that I was really confused, but I guess I sort of get it, is that Charlie's said to be decently popular in the books by the time the like bullying phase kind of ended, but in the show he definitely has a little bit more of like the outcasted nerd rep other than like in the groups
Yeah.
that he was specifically a part of.
Yeah. I feel like
But
it's
in the
just to add
books,
more
I guess he was
drama.
known to be a little bit, yeah, they essentially just had to make it more of your like standard jock nerd
Mhm.
coming out story essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Um
overall, no notes.
yeah.
No notes.
um let's see. I feel like yeah, I would agree. Like I feel like the books state that he's popular, especially like Charlie is encouraged by one of the teachers to apply to the position of head boy. In
hmm
I think the end of volume 4 or 5 maybe. Um,
When they said that, I was like, are we at Hogwarts?
I think it's a UK thing.
It must be. It
Yeah.
must be.
But yeah, but like I feel like it's never shown that he's very popular beyond like the fact that he has a very good friend group. So I agree with you, Rachel, of like, are you popular? Are you though?
I guess it was more so the only thing that I really could see was that I noticed like in the books, I feel like more people were like warmed up to Charlie versus in the
Versus
show, I feel like it took
he's
a little bit
actively
longer.
bullied, yeah. Or not like bullied, but
hmm
like still very much an outcast in the show, at least the
Yeah,
point
like
where
when
I'm
he
at.
joined the rugby team in the books, I feel like they accept him a little bit quicker versus
Mhm.
in the show. I feel like he like kind of struggles at first.
Mhm. I think you also in the show, at least up to the end of season 1, you have Harry as that like animostic.
I
I
know
don't
what
think
you're
that's the
talking
right
about.
word. Yeah,
No,
he's like the villain
I
so
know what
far.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's the English word when they write it, like who the villain is. Oh my God, it's gonna bother me. The one
antagonist.
starts with a
Thank
P,
God, Rachel.
antagonist. What's the other one? Protagonist.
Protagonist. I'm an English major. Yeah.
I was about to say, okay,
Thank
English
you,
major.
Rachel. Yeah, so he's very much the antagonist of at least season 1. So his homophobic bullying arc is drawn out more so in the show than it is in the series. Like in the novels, Nick stands up to him after one day, calls him a homophobe, punches him in the face, and then that's kind of it. And then you see Harry get this redemption arc.
hmm
And then through we've already come to that moment in season 1, and then he's continued his like bullying of Charlie and Tao and like picking fights and things like that. So,
I do like in the show that it's also pretty realistic. Like even though
yes.
he kind of tones down the bullying and like the comments and stuff, they don't
Mhm.
become best friends.
Right.
Like I
Right.
feel like that would have been way too unrealistic if that was the case. So I like that they kind of kept that element that they're civil.
Mhm.
No bullying, no side comments, no
There's
whatever,
okay.
but
Yeah.
they're at like a peace offer like,
Mhm.
here's the olive branch, okay, and then
Yeah.
they kind of make it work for the sake of the rugby team. So
Yeah.
I did like that because that's more realistic. Not everybody that you go through that's going to end up being your best friend just
Mhm.
because they maybe accept you now.
Mhm.
Like they might just be a little bit more respectful and then maybe they'll be close to someone in the future because they've
Yeah.
kind of had that like learning lesson.
Yeah.
So I did really like that realistic piece to it, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah. Um.
Ben and Harry were not the same person.
Yeah. I feel you, Rachel. Especially because like Ben drops off and then Harry comes up a little bit more, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, cool.
are they not the
Yeah,
same
in the book
character?
that happened, obviously in the show that happens a little bit less because they made Ben a little bit more relevant.
Yeah,
But in the books, I was literally like, huh?
yeah. I love
Also, I had to flip back like four times to the pages when it pointed at who was Psy, who was Christian, and who was the other guy.
yes. I also love in the ends of all of the books they list all the characters and like who they are, their ages, how they're relevant, and then as you add characters, that these spreads get longer in the back of every book. So it's very, very
Hmm.
nice.
When they added the family and then Oliver's, and it's just really bad kid
Yeah,
handwriting.
he's so cute.
And then Nick's dog.
Yeah, Nelly.
Nick's dog number two.
So you got Oliver, and then yeah, Nick's dog number two. This shit is so cute. Oh my god, the amount of times I like literally giggled or like kicked my feet while reading these books.
It was the
Crazy.
healing that I needed. This
Yeah.
got me out of my reading slump, I think.
Mhm.
So I was definitely getting in
Nick's
one. Why did
dog
it take me three
casting.
weeks to read
Great.
Onyx Storm?
Man, the
No, the
way
the dogs were
the
insane.
dog is like spot fucking on, man. So good.
I'm telling you, they said Chef's Kiss.
They
Everybody
said
is gonna be perfect.
page, show, and they just copy
Yes.
pasted every character.
The universe was like, this is meant to happen. These people need to be
Hmm.
born right now
Right
to
now.
bring this book to life. Like in like, 15, 16, 17 years. Like
Yes.
they need to be born right now.
Yes, correct.
So good. Literally
Um,
so good.
Also, I will say, I can't prove it, but I feel like Heartstopper kind of like shot some of these people to stardom. So like Joe Locke, who plays Charlie, is now in Agatha all along, and he's joining the
Mm-hmm.
MCU. Kit Connor, who plays Nick, is
He's
Romeo
such a
in
cutie.
Romeo and Juliet on Broadway. He's so cute.
He's such a cutie. He's
Um,
so cute. Oh my God.
Dude, okay. I
He
know
might
he's
be 10 years younger than me.
dude, the guy that
My friend
plays
who's also
Ben.
saying as she's laughing at me, she's like, "What?"
Don't worry
He was
about
born
it.
in 2000. Kid Connor was born in 2004.
I'm so old. The guy that plays Ben in the series is so cute to me. He's 23.
Really?
He's yeah,
Really? The guy
yeah.
who played Ben?
He was in another
Interesting.
Netflix show of some sort, and I had found it on TikTok before, like I deleted it. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay. And then I realized he popped up at Heartstopper, and I'm like, okay. I'm a little
Oh,
too old for
oh,
you, but
oh.
you're
Oh, oh,
no. But
oh.
Kit
Oh
Connor
my
is
God.
such a
Listen,
cutie. Oh
notice
my god.
notice notice the trend here.
I'm
Nicholas
happily
Galitzine
married.
was
I'm not a cougar. I swear to God.
I might be a cougar, but
You
that's
might
okay.
be.
Like,
You have a trend.
I sure do, and it keeps getting me in trouble. So not legal trouble, just to make it clear. I mean heartbroken trouble. My digital footprint is about to go crazy. FY Nicholas Galitzine was born in September '94. He is older than me, so it breaks the trend. But Kit Connor was born in 2000. Well,
I'm
they're both blonde British boys, so I guess that's the way I'm
yeah.
headed.
Oh my god. Whew. Jesus
Oh man, that's
Christ.
really funny.
Oh my god.
Nobody
I'm so
clip that and
sorry.
take me out of context, okay?
Whew. Oh my god. Also, can't vouch. That trend goes back to like high school, okay?
Stop exposing me.
Nicholas Galitzine would like break the trend, break the cycle.
No, Trevor was older than me too.
Shit.
That's a throwback name.
One
He
out
was older
of.
than me though. Oh, it was more than one, okay?
Ooh. Bro, I'm dead. That sent
Oh,
me.
not my
Okay.
dating habits getting
Jesus
exposed on the
Christ.
internet.
Oh my god.
Also, unironically, I don't think I could ever do anything with Kit Connor, not for the fact that just because he's 10 years younger than me, but also I swear to God, he looks like an identical version of my ex-boyfriend. So I feel
Oh?
like that would be weird vibes for me.
Oh.
I don't want to out him on the internet, but I'll send Jessica a picture.
Okay. Yeah, that might cause some problems.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Oh my god. Whew. Okay,
Let's
I'm
see.
fine.
Oh my God, that is so funny.
Anyway, everybody in the show is a cutie pie. Everybody in the show is very well cast, and we're just gonna leave it at that. Okay, okay.
And they're so precious, and it'll make you feel
Yes.
so happy.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make you feel so happy.
Whew, oh my god.
It is
Um.
literally so funny. Oh my god.
All right, let's move on from that, maybe. For the fucking FBI
Oh
comes
my
knocking.
god. Not the FBI. Listen, they got other big things going on, okay?
Honestly, aren't they're getting like defunded or some shit next? I'm sure.
No,
Oh my
literally
god.
though.
Whew.
But also, yeah, I have to get off here pretty soon, so I guess that's a good point to wrap up
I was gonna
on.
say, yeah. Do you wanna quickly tell us your thoughts on the series then?
No, overall, I said no notes. No notes.
Mhm.
I think I just it's just such a good like feel good show, feel good book
Mhm.
series. Like they were adapted so well. I feel like it approaches really good topics, really good things to think about, and really made me reflect on some stuff. So I really really liked it, and we'll probably be watching the series again and reading it again.
Mhm.
But I got to read the novellas first. That's my next
Yes.
step.
Yes. Um. Coming off of the Fourth Wing like series, oh my god, that took me so fucking long, and I hated every second of it. And then Heartstopper, I like could not put him down. Went out the next
Yeah.
day after finishing Volume One, bought them. Went out after finishing that, bought the novellas. So like, definitely, I think what I needed is like a mental refresh. Um,
Yes.
and
Something
they're
easy,
yes,
good to digest.
mm-hmm, very cute, but like very um it's very cute, but it handles very important matters in a really good way. Um, I annoyed Tony, my husband, several times about like, oh my god, this happened. Oh my god, this happened. Oh my god, they said this. Um, because like I said, it talks about mental health, the importance of friendships, the importance of not losing yourself in a relationship, um, how to navigate, you know, feelings of something other than heterosexuality. Um, having a friend group that's very diverse. Um,
Mhm.
Again, the had I had this series available to me in middle school or like very early high school, and I saw a character mention that she was asexual, and I had that as a term at that age, would have changed so much. It took years of like being on Tumblr and on the internet and all of this other stuff and feeling very other because like I wasn't boy crazy in high school. I didn't care. I didn't want to go on dates. Um, I would be interested in boys up until the point that like, or anybody, not even just boys, anybody, up until the point that they liked me back, and then I was like, I don't want this anymore. I'm running the other direction now. Thank you.
You're like
Um,
actually too much pressure.
yes,
JK.
yes, correct. Um, and had I had that terminology to go and research myself, would have helped so much younger, where I didn't feel so weird about it. Um, so like I just think the way that these novels handle so much in so many good ways is so important, and I think they should absolutely be made available to middle school and high school kids. It has, or at least helps people have these conversations about these topics. Um, and it also brings up like the opposite side. It deals with homophobia, it deals with bullying, so it allows readers to engage in these conversations too. I'm like, I just wish I would have
Mhm.
had these at this age, not when I'm 30
I
fucking years
know.
old.
No, literally, like the way that they talked about, like when Nick and his mom were having the conversation about like just what being in love actually means, and like all that stuff. I feel like that was so important because it goes to show like when you're in love, like it doesn't matter what you're going through and what the other person's going through, you're
Mhm.
supposed to share that. And
Mhm.
you're supposed to want to be healthier for yourself and for your partner and to work on things that bring a better version of you and your partner together
Yeah.
and bring you closer. Like after all the things that they went through, despite how young they were, they literally both talk about the fact that it brought them closer and not
Yeah.
further apart.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have been really important. I mean, then that's a huge learning lesson that I'm learning now myself. Like,
Mhm.
know what I'm asking is not too much. Know me wanting to lean on somebody and
Mhm.
not feeling like a burden is extremely important. I identified
Mhm.
with Charlie on that a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and it really just shows like the right person will show up for you in the
Mhm.
way that you're asking. And I feel like that would have been really important for me for to learn as a younger kid. Otherwise, and I feel like if I was exposed to that more than just like your parents telling you, because of course everything your parents tell you when you're younger, you're like, whatever, okay.
Right, right.
Um, it would have been really nice to see that somewhere else, like written, like yes,
Yeah.
that's true. Like your
Yeah.
friends and your relationships, they're supposed to show up for you.
Mhm.
And I think that would have been like a really big thing for me personally. So I
Yeah.
feel like even us being as old as we are in comparison to the crowd of the books, and
Mhm.
despite that not even being the main thing of the books, like we walked away with such big things
Yeah.
in such drastic ways that yes, I'm not gay or anything like that, but that's still relevant to me. It's
Mhm.
still love, it's still relationship, it's still
Yeah.
real life.
I was just going to say like even reading this at 30 years old, I think the fact that it brings up like still like I said like mental health issues, it brings up communication in a relationship, it brings up
Mm-hmm.
not losing yourself as a person into your relationship. It still brings up stuff that are relevant and important even later in life. So yeah, reading this as somebody in school would have helped a lot sooner, a lot earlier, a lot more. um
Absolutely.
Reading this even now later in life is still blowing my mind, and
I
it's
know,
still
bro. This is healing
relevant.
me for real.
Yeah, it's still very relevant. It still connects with me. um and it, not that it like gives me the tool to talk about stuff like this, but like it, I guess like, I don't know, it destigmatizes a lot of it, I guess, is kind of
Yeah,
what I want
I
to
feel
say.
like it kind of shows you that you should be unafraid to be like authentically who you are, and the right
Yeah,
people will
we'll
accept
find
you.
you.
Like
Yeah.
even though you tell people, and as long as you recognize not everybody will accept it. Some people will be nice about it, but they don't, they're not going to be your best
Mhm.
friend, like Harry,
Mhm.
or sometimes they're going to bully you anyways because they're crappy.
Mhm.
But sometimes with the right people, they'll find you,
Mhm.
and I feel like that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. So I 10 out of 10, whether you are straight or queer or anything in between, um young or older like
Young,
us,
old.
this is by far something you should pick up. Super relevant no matter what
Absolutely.
age, what relationship status you're in. Um, Very cute, very lighthearted, very, very easy to read. Um, and the series is also just fantastic. Like the show is fantastic. So yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely pick this up if you haven't yet, because holy shit, it will maybe kind of change your life. I don't know, or at least
It
become one of
might.
your new
It changed
favorite
mine, so.
series. Yeah, same.
But yeah, I should probably get ready to
Yes.
go. I'm a little bit late to my dinner plans, but
Yes. Alexis
do
has
you want
plans.
to
Hmm.
exit us out?
Yeah. Real quick, yes, Rachel, very, very healing. The series and the show has
Absolutely.
been so healing. Oh my god. Anyway, so that was our rapid fire discussion on Heartstopper. Please go pick it up if you haven't yet. Um, Next week, we're going to start our discussion on the Hunger Games, which, like I mentioned way earlier, is another banned book series. And then throughout March, we're going to be tackling each book in the series. And then it will cap off in the beginning of April by covering Sunrise on the Reaping, which will be the newest release, which comes out March 18th. Um, Also, our next 2 weeks are going to be a little bit different. So next week we're streaming on Tuesday, March 4th, because Alexis
Hmm.
has drilled that weekend, and then the week after that will be Monday, March 8th, because Alexis is going to be out of town.
This is
so
my
um,
life.
so next week and the week after will be different days. But yeah, we're gonna start the Hunger Games. So if you want to join us in a first read like me or a reread like Alexis, feel free to join us. Alexis might put that up on Fable. Um,
Yeah,
And
I'll
then
do it. I'll figure it out.
okay. And then yeah, otherwise we will see you on Tuesday, March
Yes.
4th. Yeah, thanks for joining us today on Heartstopper discussion. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Okay, bye guys.
It was the heart for me.